एक मिनट, कहाँ है यूट्यूब में? मेरे को कहाँ आएगा है सब्सक्रिप्शंस? MDS, हाँ, अपकमिंग आ गया है. ओके, या सो आई हैव टू चैट हियर नो. Okay, thank you. Done, done, done. Audio video is good. Okay, thank you. So, can I start or you want me to wait for some time? So, can I start or you want me to wait for some time? Yeah, okay. So I'll start. It's just a thing today. First class, just a trailer today, actually, to be very frank with you. Okay, now PAATHSHALA, I welcome you all, those who have all have come here. Uh, what we will do is, I will reduce the volume in my phone here, otherwise it will keep echoing. So you keep posting your doubts, whatever, if you've got. If you don't understand, so I've opened the live chat. Just message me in that. So there's a lag of around 10 seconds between what I'm speaking now and the message that I will receive here. Okay, so don't worry, but I will solve your doubts. Okay. Good evening, first of all of you, and welcome to this program of PAATHSHALA. It's a different program than what we generally do in the other classes. Now, understand that in the routine classes, that is Excel 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the fourth year of Excel 4 that we are running. There, no, what we do is we initially teach you the theoretical concepts, everything, and then go ahead with the MCQs and all. But here in this PAATHSHALA, we expect that you already have a base of your theoretical knowledge, and then we help you to solve MCQs. So each subject will have around 700 to 1000 MCQs. Like for example, public health, I have kept around 750 to 800 MCQs are there for you, spread over a period of 5-6 classes. Now today, just it being an introductory class, I have hardly kept around 60 questions for you. So you can think this as a trailer for you, trust me. The questions that are there in this are today in today's session are the most basic ones. They are the starting, as we say, no. We'll start with slowly. So these 60 questions are the easiest ones according to me, what I have framed for you for epidemiology. Now, in this program of PAATHSHALA 2, please understand that we will also be giving you in MCQ how to identify certain keywords. Now, for every question of MCQ, most of the time, no, you have a keyword, right? So identification of those keywords are very important. Now I am sure that you are aware that the amount of time that you have in the exam for each question is hardly 45 to 50 seconds, not more than that. It's not even 1 minute, isn't it? So you have to be really fast. So speed and accuracy, you need to have both, correct? So if you look at it, you need to have when you're preparing for the this thing routine preparation, you should be able to solve 100 MCQs per hour. That should be your target. And of course, in that again, you should have a speed of around 80-85, correct? So not only speed, but accurate also. That is what is the MCQ thing about. Now the thing with this Pathshala is we are going to train you in such a way that you should be able to do it. Okay, you should be able to do it. There is no way that you can say that we do not know, because once you attend Pathshala completely, accurately, trust me, if you follow the process, you should be able to get a government shell easily. There is no way otherwise. Okay, because we are going to help you channelize in such a way that not only you are good at MCQ, but also certain concepts will be cleared for you. Okay. Now, as I said, this is just a first class. So, as Shah Rukh Khan has told, me picture abhi baki hai mere dost. So this is just a trailer. Trust me. These are very simple questions that I have kept here today. I don't expect you all to know, because we have not given sufficient time to read public health. So what we will do is we will give you sufficient amount of time. We will make a schedule and give it to you. Time for you to go through the public health theoretical part and then start solving the MCQs with us. Okay, so in that way becomes easier for you. Okay, so let's start with initially, right? So welcome to this Pathshala program where the emphasis is on high end, your higher level of coaching is there in this. Okay, doubts are there, please feel free to put it in the chat box here. I think the group is not yet made. Once the group is made, that also will happen. Okay, don't worry. Now the first question, if you see on the screen, is what are the components of epidemiology? So there are 3 components of epidemiology, right? So if you see on the screen, now I wanted to ask you, do you want me to keep answering here, or do you want to solve it? This is one thing that you please tell me. Based on that, I will go ahead. You want me to solve, or you will like to first attempt? How do you want to do it? Which book to study for MCQs for PhD? You can read. बेटा ये 750 क्वेश्चन है, 750 questions are there. Apart from that, we are giving you question bank, completely question bank we are giving you in the institute. Okay, so it should be more than sufficient. Okay, so should be sufficient. Apart from that, of course, you will all, whether we stop you or no, you will say that we want to solve from Pulse also. So institute questions बहुत हैं. Apart from institute questions, if you want, I know that you will all eventually go back to Pulse only. Okay, so yeah. So you want to solve. Okay, the first question is component epidemiology. Some of one of you have already answered correctly. Yeah, there are 3 components. Frequency of the disease, disease distribution, as well as determinants. So frequency is, you would like to find out how frequently the disease is attacking a population, or another way of seeing is frequency here means proportion of population affected by the disease. And number 2 is distribution. How is the disease distributed in the population? That means which age, gender, social status people are affected more. And of course, determinants means causes. Determinants means causes. So the first question is components of epidemiology are 3: frequency, distribution, and determinants. So coming to the second question, what are the tools of measurements in epidemiology? Second one, what are the tools of measurements in epidemiology? very happy that all of you are correct. The correct answer is D. The correct answer is D. Rate, ratio, and proportion. These are the basic tools of measurements in epidemiology. Okay. Now, if the question is asked on scales of measurements in epidemiology, there are 4 scales. Nominal. Okay, we will go in detail about it in the next classes. Ordinal. You have interval scale, and you've got ratio scale. Okay, so these are the scales of measurements in epidemiology. These are the tools. So understand the question. Now, if you see the scales, nominal and ordinal. Okay, now in biostatistics, these two will come again, wherein this is qualitative data. Okay, qualitative, right? And on the other hand, the remaining two, there is interval and ratio scale. It will come as quantitative data because you are measuring it. Okay, so qualitative, quantitative. Remember this. You are connecting your statistics and epidemiology. Okay, so nominal data, ordinal data. Examples you should know. That is qualitative, and interval ratio, they are quantitative. Okay, because it's a continuous scale. Here you are categorizing people, right? So coming to question number 3, disease frequency and distribution is measured by what? Frequency and distribution is measured by what? Don't worry, even if you're wrong. Okay, just answer. There is no, competition going on here. Yeah, so some of you have already marked. So frequency and distribution is given by descriptive epidemiology. On the other hand, your analytical epidemiology, this will give you determinants of disease. Okay, so also called as a cause. Okay, also called as cause. Right. Question number 4. Right, question number 4. What does prevalence refers to? Cumulative effect of the disease, number of new cases detected, proportion of population affected by the disease, or number of old cases detected. Please answer. Don't worry about whether you're correct or no. Only 2 or 3 of you are answering. Don't worry, as I said, there is no exam here, isn't it? Since you are not answering, let me only help you out. Okay. So prevalence refers to proportion of population affected by disease. Now prevalence, whenever you think of, there are 2 terms that you should be knowing. First is proportion, as it is given here. The other word is magnitude of the disease in the population. So magnitude and proportion, these are the key words whenever you hear, when it comes to a question of epidemiology, the mind should go towards prevalence. You should think about prevalence. So these are the 2 key words: magnitude of the disease in the population and proportion of population affected. Okay, magnitude of the disease, proportion of population affected. These are the 2 key words. Whenever you hear these 2 words, your mind should go towards prevalence. Okay. Now, what are the question number 5? What are the uses of prevalence? So, prevalence uses are all except. So, there are 3 uses and one is not a use of prevalence. So, estimates the magnitude of the disease in the community or health problems, helps in identify potential high risk populations, helps in taking an action to control the disease, and useful in administrative and planning purpose. So question number 5. You are not aware of the answer? I'll answer it. Yeah, 2 of you have marked correctly. The answer is definitely option C. This is a use of incidence. You cannot control the disease with the information given by prevalence. So prevalence will only tell you how many are suffering from the disease. Why are they suffering from the disease? You need to know the cause, and that can be given only by incidence. Hence the answer is option C. Okay? Because incidence will throw light on causal factors. All these are important terms that you need to know. Whereas these 3 prevalence uses are all the remaining 3. Okay? And question number 6. Prevalence rate is decreased by in-migration of cases, out-migration of healthy people, improved diagnostic facilities, or high case fatality rate. Dr. Sneha, what should I explain? Question number 5. Question number 5 is this one. These 3 are the uses of prevalence. Now, to control the disease, you need to know the causal factors, and causal factors can be given only by incidence. So, hence option C is a use of incidence. Okay. How to rule out options? These are the 3. Option A, B, D are uses of prevalence. Okay. So remaining is C, which is a use of incidence. Now, question number 6. Prevalence is decreased by high case fatality rate. Correct. One of you have answered correctly. How do you do this? Now, if you remember, P is equal to I into D. Prevalence is equal to incidence into disease. As the duration increases, prevalence increases. Okay? Now, if the duration decreases, prevalence also will decrease, isn't it? Now, the duration will decrease when you have high case fatality. Hence you need, hence correct answer is this. Definitely, doctor, there will be class will be taken on statistics also shortly. Okay, so that is now question number 6. What is question number 7 then? Please read the question number 7. What are the uses of incidents? Uses of incidents are all except. So option A is use of helps in taking an action to control the disease. It gives clues to the research into etiology and pathogenesis. It is useful in evaluating the efficacy of preventive and therapeutic measures. It helps in estimating the magnitude of disease. Yeah. So 7 is D. Very simple, because this is a use of prevalence. This is a use of prevalence. Okay? Use of prevalence. Now, question number 8. If prevalence of a disease is 50 and duration is 5, what will be the incidence? Very simple, straightforward. Question number 8. Yeah. So P is equal to I into D. So I is equal to P divided by D, which is equal to 50 divided by 5, which is equal to 10. Hence the answer is B. Okay. Hence the answer is B. Right. Question number 9. There are 2000 new cases of oral cancer in a population of 40,000. What will be the incidence rate? So the formula for incidence is total number of new cases due to the disease divided by the population at risk multiplied by 1000. So calculate it, you will get your answer. No, per 1000 is not used. Per 1000 is not used. It is only a thing, that's all. Okay, don't worry. Okay, please answer question number 9. So 2000 divided by 40,000 multiplied by 1000. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 gets cancelled. 0, 0. 4 ones are 4 50s are. Hence the answer is option C. Option C is the answer. Okay? Option C is the answer. Question number 10. The rate that refers to the number of deaths due to a particular cause per 100 or 1000 total deaths are known as. Now, there are two things here which I would like to tell you. Now, when a question comes, that means understand the question in this. The examiner is asking you what are the top 100 or 1000 causes of deaths in a particular place. For example, simple. Today in India, let us say there are 100 deaths happened. Okay, total 100 deaths happened here in India today, right? And the government wants to find out what are the main reasons for this 100 deaths. They want to find out. Okay, now when the question is asked like this is what they ask. The rate that refers to the number of deaths due to a particular cause. So they want to find out the particular causes. And when they ask you per 100 or 1000 total deaths, okay, your mind should go towards proportional mortality rate. It should go towards proportional mortality rate. Okay, now when your answer is proportional mortality rate, to depict means graphically how you depict it. So when you are depicting that, right, you have to depict using a proportional bar diagram. Okay, you have to use a proportional bar diagram. Okay, if you also remember, it is called as a compound bar diagram. Compound bar diagram. Now, if I open this compound bar diagram bar into a circle, it becomes a pie chart. So there are 2-3 MCQs in this question. Okay, first is let me explain the proportional mortality rate, then I'll come to the remaining one. So when a question is asked like this, what are the rate that refers to the number of deaths due to a particular cause per 100 or 1000? Your answer will be proportional mortality rate. To depict proportional mortality rate, we use proportional bar diagram, also called as compound bar diagram. This is in bars. Okay, the diagram will look something like this. Okay, the diagram looks like this. So 100 this is, okay, this is for India, this is for, let us say, Sri Lanka. Okay, so like this it will look. Main cardiovascular disease, then cancer, यहाँ पे mostly cancer, like this. So that's called proportional bar diagram. Now if you open this bar diagram into a circle, it becomes a pie chart. Okay, that is, so these are the MCQs related to proportional mortality rate. Now when it comes to this one, case fatality rate. Now case fatality rate, right here, case fatality rate, it is also called as the killing power of the disease. Killing power of the disease. इसका एक फॉर्मूला है केस फैटेलिटी रेट का. Now there is a formula for it. Okay, number of deaths divided by number of cases. That's it. It does not take into consideration anything else. Are you understanding? So they are not bothered whether the person is hospitalized in the hospital for lifelong, like cancer. No, case is there, and out of those number of cases, how many have died? That is what is called as case fatality rate, the killing power of the disease. Okay, as I said, it does not take into consideration that person, those cases are in the hospital, nothing. They just want to know how many have died. That's called case fatality rate. Now it comes to specific death rate. Now how do you differentiate specific death rate and proportional mortality rate? That also tries to find out the reason of cause of death. What is the reason? What is the cause for the death? But in that there will be no numericals here. पर 100 और 1000 नहीं होता है इसमें, ठीक है. So that's how you differentiate specific death rate and proportional mortality rate. Crude death rate is very simple. Crude death rate means I just want to find out how many people died in India. I am not bothered about the cause of the death. So each 4 of them MCQs are there. Main MCQs are in 2 here. One is the proportional mortality rate, another is case fatality rate. There are 2 MCQs repeatedly they have asked. Okay. Now coming next to question number 11. All of the following have individuals as units of study except. So I would like you to ask a question, answer. 11. All of the following have individuals as units of study except cohort study, case control, cross sectional, ecological. No, there are three studies which will use individuals as units of study, except one which will use population based study. This is the population based study. Yeah. So you are all correct. So these three are individual based, whereas ecological study is a population is used as units of study. Okay, units of study. Question number 12. Question number 12. The occurrence in the community or a region of cases of an illness or health related events in excess of normal expectancy is known as. Yes, I am very happy that you have marked correctly. Epidemic is the answer. Okay, epidemic is the answer. The occurrence of cases more than the normal expectancy is called as epidemic. Okay. Now we will go each one by one. Don't worry. There are a lot of MCQs which are going to come here. Okay. Question number 13. Question number 13. An epidemic of food poisoning belongs to which one? Question number 13. An epidemic of food poisoning. Points. Very good. I'm very happy that all of you have marked correctly. Points was epidemic. That means you don't need explanation for this. Question number 14. Question number 14. A disease that is constantly present in one particular geographical location, it is called as endemic, pandemic, epidemic, or an outbreak. Yes, I am again happy all of you are correct. It is endemic. Okay, endemic. Very good, very good. So you don't need explanation for things which you are very confident of. Question number 15. All these are uses of descriptive epidemiology except. Yes, I'm very happy that some of you mark. Testing the hypothesis is not done by descriptive. It is done by analytical epidemiology. There is one more MCQ on this. So after descriptive, to test hypothesis, which should you do? And the answer is this. Always remember, first start with case control to test hypothesis. Once proven only, then you should go with cohort study. Okay? Some of you have written question number D. No, planning implementation can be done with the descriptive epidemiology because you get to know D is not the answer. Okay? D is a use of, that is planning implementation evaluation is a use of descriptive epidemiology. Okay, if you see, it's very similar to prevalence. Okay, that's how you remember. Right, question number 16. A disease that shifts the direction. Okay, that is rise or, it's not off, it's or. Okay, a disease that shifts the direction, that is rise or fall over a period of time, is an example of what? Cyclical trends, seasonal trends, secular trends, or epidemic trends. Yes. So secular trends, it is called as secular trends. It's also called as long-term fluctuations. And to depict secular trends, how do you show it? We use line graphs. This is another MCQ for you. So when you have time as a variable, so line graphs are used when time is the variable. Time is the variable. That's why I underlined here, over a period of time. Okay. Then question number 17. Which of the following is a characteristic of a single exposure common vehicle outbreak? Single exposure common vehicle outbreak. Frequent secondary cases, severity increases with increasing age, explosive cases occur continuously beyond the incubation period. Okay, so some of you believe it is C, some of you believe it is a D. Well, the correct answer is, what is the characteristic of a single exposure common variable? The answer is C, explosive. Okay, always. What is a single exposure? Single, it's like this. This is a single wave. Okay, so the cases are rising at the same time they are falling. So it is explosive. There are no secondary cases. There is no transmission from person to person. Okay, so severity increases with increasing age. Nothing like that. It can happen in children also. It can happen in adults also. So cases occur continuously beyond the longest. No. Once the wave is over, that's it. So again, there will not be any secondary cases, right? So question number 18. Seasonal trend is due to seasonal variation, environmental factors, change in herd immunity, all of the above. This is a very straightforward question, so I am sure that you are aware of this. The answer is D. It's straightforward one. Very simple. Very simple. Okay. Now, all question number 19. All are true for point source epidemic, except epidemic curve rises and falls sharply, clustering of cases within a short period of time, person to person transmission. All cases usually develop within one incubation period. Okay, two of you have marked. So person to person transmission never happens in a point source epidemic. Understand, there is no transmission. If it is transmission, that means there are going to be secondary cases. Logic, isn't it? So there are going to be only as I decided, just now showed you some time back, there will be only one peak, and in that one peak, there will be rise of cases and immediate fall. So only one incubation period will be there, right? No person to person transmission happens. Question number 20. What type of pandemic was COVID-19? What type of pandemic was COVID-19? Very impressive. It was propagated epidemic. Okay. B is the answer. B is the answer. Right. Question number 21. At an initial examination in Oxford, migraine headache was found in 5 of 1,000 men aged 30 to 35 years and in 10 of 1,000 women aged 30 to 35 years. The inference that women have 2 times great risk for developing migraine than men in this age group is correct. Option A. Option B incorrect, because a ratio has been used to compare male and female. Incorrect. Option C, because of failure to recognize the cohort A effect of age in the two groups. Option D incorrect, because of the failure to distinguish whether it's a new case or an old case, that is incidence or a prevalence. So what is the appropriate answer according to you? That's it, only one response? Okay, I'll explain. So question number 21. No, the answer is D. The answer is D. Okay. First thing. Okay, there are 3 options here which are saying the statement given is incorrect. So A gets ruled out. Okay. Now comes what is the more appropriate answer among option B, C and D. How do you know whether these are new cases or these are old cases. How do you know? So there is no differentiation. That is why you cannot say that, you cannot include that in the analysis. Hence, it is difficult for you to, since difficult to distinguish between incidence and prevalence cases, you cannot say that men, the risk to develop migraine among women is twice than men. You can't say that because you do not know whether these cases that are given here are they old cases or are they new cases. Okay, so that's why the answer is D. D is the answer. Okay. Now, cross-sectional studies are also called as longitudinal study, incidence study, retrospective study, prevalence studies. Yeah. Now, cross-sectional studies, the synonym is prevalence study. Okay? Remember this. Cross-sectional study synonym is prevalence study. Longitudinal incidence, the prevalence is cohort. Retrospective, the prevalence is case control. Okay? Right. Question number 23. Which of the following is odds ratio? Which of the following is odds ratio? AD by BC, AB by CD, AC by BD, BC by AD. Answer is A. Odds ratio is used to measure strength of association between risk factor and outcome. Okay, remember this. Right, question number 24. Question number 24. Which of the following statements is not correct? A cohort study is more expensive compared to case control study. Option B. A cohort study starts with people exposed to the risk factor or suspected cause, while case control study starts with the disease. Okay. A long follow-up period often needed with delayed results in a cohort study, whereas a cohort case control yields relatively quick results. A cohort study is more appropriate when the disease or the exposure under investigation is rare in comparison to case control study. Very simple this is actually. Yeah, so since two of you have already marked, I will tell you the answer. The answer is D. Now, when the exposure is rare, the answer should be case control. Okay, so that's the keyword. Remaining all, of course, are the properties of cohort study. They are more expensive, and cohort study starts with the people exposed to risk factor, whereas case control starts with the disease. You need a long follow-up period in a cohort study, hence you need a larger sample size, all those things are typed. Then question number 25 and 26, they are linked to each other, so you mark together. 25 and 26 marked together. Please mark together 25, 26. Then only you will understand. The keywords you will have to identify it. That's why I'm saying. Okay, so when you have strength of association between cause and effect, your answer should be relative risk. On the other hand, if you have risk factor and outcome, the answer should be odds ratio. Now one more thing you need to know here. Now here attributable risk is also known as risk difference. So they both are same. Okay. On the other hand, relative risk and risk ratio both are synonyms, same or synonym, whatever you call it. Okay. 26 is A. On the other hand, 25 is B. Keyword. Understand those keywords. Okay. Then comes question number 27. Which of the following is true about cohort study? Yeah, question number 27. Sir, what's the difference between what, Dr. Sneha? Between what? Difference between what, Dr. Sneha? Relative risk and odds ratio. See here, I've already underlined it for you. Cause and effect, when it comes, the answer is relative risk. If it is risk factor and outcome, it is odds ratio. Okay? And the other very important one is this is relative risk can be calculated only through cohort study. On the other hand, odds ratio is calculated through case control study. 26 is A. 26 is A. Dr. Ankita. Yeah, 27 answer. You have written correctly. With cohort study, you can calculate the incidence. Okay. Yeah, question number 28. What is not true about cross-sectional epidemiological study? 28. Please solve 28. Twenty-eight is A, because for rare disease you're supposed to use a case control study. I've already told you that. Now coming to this chronic disease. Now when you have a chronic disease, what happens is, in a chronic disease, duration is long. When you have a long duration, there will be increase in prevalence, and prevalence is also called as cross sectional study. Okay, so that's how you do it. 28 answer. No, it needs less number of days. We're just trying to find the prevalence of it. Don't worry, it's correct. There is no follow up. Understand? In a cohort study, you need follow up. Okay. Question number 29. 28 is A. Question number 29. What is the purpose of a control group in experimental study? It permits an ethical alternative for patients who do not wish to be subjected to an experimental treatment. It allows a larger number of patients to be used, thus increasing the power of the statistical techniques used. Helps to eliminate alternate explanations for the results of the study. It reduces the likelihood of making a type 2 error in hypothesis testing. So what, according to you, is the reason why we take a control group in a randomized controlled trial? 29. Yeah. Two of you have marked. Correct answer is this. It helps to eliminate alternative explanations for the results of the study. That is why we take a control group. Now I don't know how much you have read and come, and I don't even know how much knowledge you have got. What is a randomized control trial? It's basically an experimental trial in which one group will be given the experimental drug and another will give the controlled drug. So we would like to compare the effect of the new drug versus the old drug. This is called a control drug, so that any other explanation can be removed off from that. Okay. So then comes next one we have got is, what is the purpose of randomization? Question number 30. Why do you do randomization in a clinical trial? Why do you do randomization in a clinical trial? Question number 30. Okay, so you are not aware of these things. That means you have not read. No problem. It's just the beginning of PAATHSHALA, so I don't know whether you are aware or know whether I am going to take a class. But next time when you come, you'll be given sufficient amount of time to prepare and come. Okay. So what is the purpose of randomization? The main purpose of randomization effect is to equalize the effects of extraneous variable, thus guarding against bias, especially selection bias. So here when you are separating it, no, okay, you randomly give the new drug to some patients and randomly give the old drug to some patients like that. Okay, so hence the answer is A. So that any external variable is there, that should not influence the result. What is an external variable? What do you mean by external variable? For example, if you are doing a research on to control the weight of diet counseling or something to for weight reduction, and one group is not given when you start at the baseline, if everybody should be equal to the baseline, correct? If one group is less and one group is high, how will you see the effect? So external variables will be there. So thus guarding against the bias. Okay. I think question number 31. I don't know again how many of you have read this. ITT, intention to treat analysis, is done in cohort, survival analysis, randomized controlled trial, multiple time series studies. Yeah. So two of you have marked going at the intention to treat is done in randomized controlled trials. The name itself says ITT. They are also called as clinical trials, randomized controlled trial. Okay, in this intention to treat means, now let us say you're doing a research. Okay, you have done this, started this research. Now here I told you, give an example. You started a research here. Okay, and in the middle, once the trial has started, this new drug, people start seeing lot of side effects because it's a new drug, isn't it? So side effects are more, okay, in the new. So what they do is they will drop out. So once they drop out, let us say you don't include them in your analysis, so the result will vary a lot. Variation will happen. Hence, once you have included them in your trial, you have to use them for analysis also. Okay, that is what is called as intention to treat. So that means include all the participants during analysis, even if they have left the research in between. Means they do not complete the result, still you will use them for doing analysis time. You have to. That is called as intention to treat analysis. There is one more concept like that only. It's called as it's called per protocol analysis. Per protocol analysis. This also comes in randomized controlled trial. Now in this analysis, include only those who completed the research. Means if they have left the research in between, don't include them in analysis. Include only those individuals, those who completed the research. So if they have left in between, you should exclude them. Okay. So next is, what is random means in randomization means. Random in randomized control trial means what? Okay, random in randomization in a clinical trial means what? Question number 32. Okay, so random means everybody has an equal chance, but they do not know to which group do they belong to. Whether they have been allotted experimental group or they have been allotted control group. So they are not aware, but they have an equal chance. Hence it is equal chance, but unknown whether they are in the control group or in the experimental group. Okay. Right. Question number 33. In randomized control trial, the essential purpose of randomization is what? Why to do randomization? To produce double blinding, to decrease the follow-up period, to eliminate selection bias, to decrease the sample size. What do we use it for? Yes, fantastic. So I want to C is the answer. The main purpose of randomization is to eliminate selection bias. Okay. Now, same question is 34 also. Okay. The major purpose of randomization in a clinical trial is to, what is the major purpose of? Same. It's very similar. I think they have come very close by. 34. Yes, it is to reduce the selection bias in allocation of treatment. Okay. Question number 35. Please see also question 36. Write down in the side your answer. I will explain you both. 35 and 36. Attempt together. 35 and 36 attempt together. Please mark the question number. Only 2 responses. Okay, both the answers are C. All of the following helps to reduce the bias except ethical consideration. Ethical consideration is not to reduce bias or increase bias, definitely. Okay, right? The systemic distortion of retrospective studies that can be eliminated by prospective design is recall bias, also called as memory bias. Okay, memory bias or recall bias. Okay, so hence both answers are C. Now, question number 37. Yeah, what is a Hawthorne effect and is seen in which kind of research? Okay, then is it seen in case control study, prospective cohort study, cross sectional study, retrospective cohort study? In which do you see a Hawthorne effect? Question number 36. What happens is retrospective study, that is your case control study, relies on patient's memory because the disease already has happened, if you remember. Whereas cohort study, it's not like that. You're following it up. It's a prospective study. You're meeting every month or once in 2 months, isn't it? So that will not be there. Okay? You don't have memory bias, hence the patient did not recall. Okay, Hawthorne effect is seen. So some of you have marked correctly. The answer is prospective cohort studies. What exactly is a Hawthorne effect? There was an electrical company by name Hawthorne, wherein they wanted to improve, the owners wanted to improve the productivity. Okay, production they want to improve. So what they did is they just installed light bulbs where the PhDs were working, and what they did is they should just dim the light and increase the wavelength. Okay, that's all they should do. Increase, decrease, increase, decrease. Okay, so whenever it used to happen, the workers used to think that they are being watched, like something like CCTV. So they used to start improving their performance. Okay, so this can happen only in a prospective cohort study wherein there is follow-up going on. Case control disease already is over. Cross-sectional, again disease already over. Retrospective cohort, again the disease already is over. So hence Hawthorne effect is seen either in prospective cohort or it can also be seen in a randomized control trial whenever there is going to be a follow-up like that. Okay. So question number 38. In an antenatal clinic, 20 pregnant women were asked about the history of smoking when they came for regular antenatal visit, and then they were followed up to see how many of them had low birth weight babies. What is this type of study? Case control, prospective cohort, cross-sectional, or retrospective cohort? Identify the keyword. Identify the keyword. The keyword here is the pregnant women were followed out. This is the keyword. And whenever you have follow-up, it is going to be a prospective cohort, not retrospective cohort. Prospective. Hence the answer is B. Okay? Answer is B. Now, I don't know how many of you are aware of this bias called as Neiman's bias. Okay, prevalence incidence bias. So prevalence incidence bias is most commonly seen in which one? Randomized controlled trials or case control study or a cohort study or an ecological study. If you do not know the answer, I'm okay with it. I will explain you, don't worry. Just mark something. I think none of you are aware of this, isn't it? Yeah, so the Neiman's bias, also called as prevalence incidence bias, is very commonly seen in case control, the Neiman's bias. So what exactly is this a prevalence incidence bias or a Neiman's bias? Now what happens is when you're doing a case control study, okay, now what is a case control study? You have chosen a group of cases, okay, and you have chosen a group of controls. Now I am not bothered about controls, no, okay, I am bothered about cases. So when you choose a case, there is something called as, before you start the research, you are select the cases rather, you are supposed to define your eligibility criteria. You have to have a very stringent eligibility criteria. Okay, that means you are going to take those cases, for example, which have been diagnosed 3 months prior or no. Just give me example. That means all the cases of oral cancer in the past 3 months, I'm going to include them, which were diagnosed. Okay. Before that, I'm not going to include them though. Okay. I hope you're understanding. So your eligibility criteria should be very, very strong. Now take an example of, okay, now at this context, take an example of case control study which is being done on myocardial infarction. Okay, so a case control study on myocardial infarction. Okay, now if you include only those from the past 3 months, okay, within these 3 months, those were hospitalized, right? What about those cases which died due to my MI and which you did not include them, correct, no? Or those who recovered, because when you went to do this research, they were not in the hospital, isn't it? So they died or they recovered, those cases are not included in the research. So these are not included in the research. Died and recovered, not included in research. So it looks as if your prevalence is low. Number of cases are low. Yes or no? Because you didn't include them. Hence, this is called as prevalence incidence bias. Right? So Neiman's bias. Since they are not included in that. Okay? Remember this example. MI, myocardial infarction. Okay? You have kept a criteria that only those cases which are the last 3 months, I am going to include them in my research. So, but what about the people who died due to MI in these 3 months only? Their data is not there only. Recovered. Again, they are not in the hospital when you went to visit. So this data will not be included in the research. And since they are not included in the research, the prevalence and incidence seems to be low. And this type of bias is called as Neiman's bias. Okay. Then question number 40. Question number 40. Which of the following is not a cause of bias? Confounding selection, misclassification, random error. Very simple this is. Okay. Yeah. D is the answer for this. It's not a type of bias. Okay, it's not a case of bias. Okay, question number 41. Again, I don't know how many of you are aware of 41. So I don't expect you to know what is a nested case control study. Nested case control study. Now, nested case control study, it means now, see what happens is you choose, there will be a cohort study going on. Now, in cohort, I am sure you are aware that you are following a group of people with a cause, okay, and you are hoping that they will develop the disease, that is called as the effect. Now, once they get the disease, okay, this group who got the disease, right, they become your cases, okay, and then you take one more parallel group who don't have the disease, okay, group 1 and group 2. This is cases are with the disease, controls are without the disease. Now, it starts as a prospective because like this, but eventually the analysis is based on case control, okay, so hence the answer is retrospective. Okay, A is the answer. Okay, A is the answer. Remember this, right? Now, cause to effect progression of a disease can be seen among all except cause to effect. That means the disease has not yet occurred. Okay? Disease has not yet occurred. So it is seen in 3 studies here except one. There is one study in this where the disease already has happened and you are trying to go back in time and figure it out. I have given you the answer also. It should not be a problem for you now. Correct. A is the answer. Okay. Right. Question number 43. Question number 43. Rule out. For question 43, question number 43, you need to rule out. You need to rule out. Please understand. I am giving you a hint. Okay, only 2 of you have answered. The answer is ecological study. It is also called as correlation study. It is also called as correlation study. Now, what happens in an ecological study is it's also called as correlation study. As I said, it's a population-based study. Okay, so it is not cross sectional. That is why I was going on telling you, rule it out. So here uh, he is collecting the data from a number of people who are eating. So it's a population based research. That is number one. Okay, now cohort, it cannot happen because there is no follow up here. There is no experiment happening. You are not creating an experiment here. He is just observing what is happening there and people. So hence it is a correlation study. Now, what exactly is a correlation or ecological study? Now, let me give you an example for you to understand. Okay. Now, let us say uh, there is a new anti-arrhythmic drug which is launched in the market. Okay. Now, definitely this new drug, no, this a lot of people are using it, and it is decreasing the arrhythmias. Okay, but at the same time, it is also causing increase in the death due to asthma in this group. Now, what happens is there is this guy, researcher, what he does is he says that this increase in the death due to asthma is because of the new anti-arrhythmic drug. He is correlating two things. Now, they might be random also. It might be just a random finding. Yes or no? Probably this group is getting more exposed to this pollen now. So there is more allergy. So hence this is called as a flaw in the design of the study. This is called as ecological fallacy. You are correlating two things which may or may not be actually happening, isn't it? So that's why this study is the among the four analytic epidemiology. Cohort is the highest order, case control, then cross sectional, least is your ecological. Okay. Right. Question number 44. An association of goiter with high altitude is an example of. There is no control group, no. There is no control group here. See here. Is there any control group here? That is why even experimental will not come. And case means there has to be a disease. There is no disease only. He is just collecting the data, that's all. And trying to analyze. That's all. Okay? Yeah, question number 44. Association of goiter with high altitude is an example of what? There are different types of association. Let me tell you the answer if in case you guys are not aware of it. First is called direct association. Direct means there will be only two things here. Exposure leading to disease. That's it. That's why it's called direct. Okay. It's called direct association. Exposure comes to man. Okay. Disease is like this. There will be an agent which comes in contact with man and that leads to disease. This is called as direct. Okay, this is called as direct. Then what is indirect? Indirect means what happens is there will be a confounding variable. Confounding variable. Okay, what is a confounding variable? Confounding variable is associated with both exposure as well as the outcome. Okay, and it will influence the disease outcome also. Now, in this, I'll give an example for you for indirect association. Now, let us say I am trying to find out physical exercise, effect of physical exercise on myocardial infarction. Okay, now this is the exposure, this is the effect. Now, if I don't take age into consideration, now age is associated with physical exercise. You know that very well that with increasing age, our physical exercise reduces because we don't have that kind of dexterity, strength, everything. Okay, and with increasing age, it also leads to myocardial infarction. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that age here is a confounder. Indirectly it will affect your result. The same for even association of goiter and high altitude. Okay, goiter and high altitude. Now reduced iodine, right? Now here they say that goiter goiter is the effector. So high altitude leading to goiter. Okay, and here is your decreased iodine consumption. Now decreased iodine consumption is associated with both high altitudes as well as with goiter, and hence here your iodine is the confounder. Okay, so hence this is an example of indirect association where there is a confounder associated with. So this is another MCQ. Confounding variables are associated with indirect association. Okay. Then question number 45. Please let me know if you are bored. I will stop it. I have no problem in that. I was actually don't take till 8:30. I've already crossed 8:35. So I think I'll do it till 50 and then I'll stop for you. Okay. So question number 45. In a hospital in London, total number of deaths among PCR confirmed COVID-19 patients was recorded. The age, gender, adverse habits and other associated medical diseases were also recorded and analyzed. What type of study is this? Very simple this is actually. If you read 2-3 keywords are here. There is only one keyword actually, but 2-3 times it has come. See. See, the disease has already occurred, so it cannot be B, prospective cohort, it's over. Okay, now I told one very specific thing. One particular word is going on repeating. Whenever you have medical records, dental records, basically any records. It can be dental, it can be medical, it can be occupation records to find out occupational related diseases. So any records that is there, and if you observe here everything is records only, then your answer has to be retrospective cohort. Your answer is retrospective cohort. Okay. Here, one of you have written even C also. C can happen. I am not saying no. Okay. But more appropriate is retrospective, because whenever you are going through records, okay, always remember this. That's why I said the keyword. Records were used twice here. Here and here. Through records, if you're going, you have to think about retrospective cohort. Okay. Question number 46. The type of study in which the subjects, investigators, and statistician are unaware of the group, it is called as yeah. So triple blind is the answer. I am very happy that you are all correct. Triple blind is the answer. Question number 47. If you do not know, I will tell you. Neonatal mortality rate. Okay. Early neonatal mortality rate. It is between birth to 7 days. Okay. Whereas late neonatal mortality rate is from 7 days to 28 days. You also have something called as postnatal mortality rate. Nested means prospective cohort, with choosing controls from these cohort who are free from disease and then conduct a retrospective in already diseased cohorts. Yes, you can say that. Okay. Yeah, postnatal mortality is from 28 to 365 days. Okay, now you have to include only the 9 deaths. So the formula is like this. The formula is like this. 9 out of 500 live births into 1000. So 500 ones are 500 twos are. So it is, answer is 18. 18 live births. Okay. Now similarly you have maternal mortality rate. Okay, just get the charger. Hold on, okay. Yeah. Right. Now, similarly, you have got maternal mortality ratio. Okay. This is something called as maternal mortality rate also. Okay. The only difference, I wanted to actually tell you this, the only difference between they are same. Okay. Only there is only one difference. When you are doing maternal mortality ratio, the multiplier is 1,000. 1 lakh. Okay, multiplier is 1 lakh. Okay, and when you have maternal mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, because in some books, okay, means even government of India also have interchanged at many places, sir. Okay, it is multiplied by 1000. That's the only difference. Otherwise, they mean the same. Okay, so here if you see, there are 6 women who died. One due to road accident, don't include it because that is not the cause of maternal mortality. Sepsis, yes. Eclampsia, yes. Obstructive labor, yes. Ectopic pregnancy, yes. Again, snake bite, don't include it. So it will become like this. Okay, so 4 divided by 4000 multiplied by, since they have asked you ratio and here they have given you, see, 1 lakh. So 1 lakh, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 ones are 4 ones are, so 1 into 100. Hence the answer becomes B for this one. Okay, here 48 is B. 48 is B. So I'm sure that you are not aware of these things, so I thought I'll tell you of the answer. Okay. So question number 49 and 50. Let's see. I think I'll stop at this so that you have to, you can yeah. Okay. Question number 49. Sequence of writing a scientific report for an oral health survey is, what is the sequence that you follow? Nine. Okay, yeah. So now, since you have, I think most of you have left, hardly one or two of you are answering. The format is IMRAD, Introduction, Methodology, Results, and Discussion. A is the answer. Remember, this is the format used for publication of original research paper. Okay, remember this. Right? Question number 50, if you see on the screen, the diagnostic power of a disease to correctly exclude the disease is which one? The diagnostic power of a disease is wrong. The diagnostic power of, this is not the correct one. It should have been, this is wrong. The diagnostic power of a screening test. I'm sorry for that. Okay, to correctly exclude the disease. Yeah, 50D correct. Thank you so much. You have marked correctly. Okay, D is the answer. Now, that completes the chapter lecture today. Any doubts are there for you? If you can please tell me here, then accordingly we will plan. Did you understand the lecture and all? Any doubts are there for you for the lecture. Don't worry about the other things which are going to happen. So Pathshala is one major thing. So anything that you would like me to include next time? Hope you understood everything. Thank you then. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Okay. That's more than section. Okay. A schedule will be made for you. Don't worry. Okay, once the schedule is made, no, we will inform you priorly what to read and come before only, so that it will be easier for you also to answer. Okay, that's the whole point. Okay. So thank you all. Have a good night.